All right. Welcome back, everybody, for another Deep Dive. Today, we're tackling leadership.
Ooh, leadership.
It's a big one, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's got an opinion on it. It seems like every other book out there is about it. And you guys sent in some really interesting notes and excerpts and quotes for this one.
I was really impressed with this batch.
Yeah.
Really good stuff.
Let's get right into it. I think our mission today
Yeah.
is to figure out, like, what really makes an effective leader.
Okay.
Not just the buzzwords, but like the actual
Right, the practical stuff.
practical stuff.
The stuff that works.
The stuff that actually gets results.
Yeah.
So to kick things off, I noticed a theme running through a lot of these notes. It's this idea that leadership opportunities, they're not just reserved for like CEOs and, politicians.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're kind of all around us.
Yeah, and I think that's something that people miss a lot. They think, oh, I'm not the CEO, so I can't be a leader. But really, you have opportunities every single day to step up and lead, whether you're at work or in your personal life, even just like with your friends and family.
Yeah, I like that. One of the notes actually had a quote that said,
Oh, yeah.
leadership is action, not position.
Right.
And I think that really captures it well. It's not about the title you hold.
Yeah.
It's about like stepping up and taking charge when the situation calls for it.
And influencing people.
Yeah.
Having an impact.
Right. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of how to actually do that.
Yeah.
There was this fascinating anecdote about Steve Jobs.
Oh, yeah. I love this one.
Okay, so tell me about it. What was so special about his approach?
Well, it's funny because it sounds kind of manipulative when you first hear it.
Right.
But he had this way of convincing people to do things by making them believe it was in their own best interest. So instead of being like, do this because I said so,
Right.
he'd frame it in a way that appealed to their own motivations and goals.
So he was like a master manipulator, but for good?
I wouldn't say manipulator, but he was really good at understanding what made people tick and using that to his advantage. He was tapping into what we call intrinsic motivation.
Intrinsic motivation?
Yeah, so instead of relying on external rewards like money or bonuses,
Right.
he focused on things like purpose achievement mastery, things that really light people up from the inside.
So you're saying money isn't the ultimate motivator?
Not really.
What? I think that's going to come as a shock to a lot of people listening.
Well, it's kind of ingrained in us, right? Like, work hard, get paid, climb the ladder. But there's so much research now that shows that people are way more motivated by things like feeling valued, feeling connected to their work, having a sense of purpose.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm starting to see the bigger picture here. So if it's not all about the money, then what are some practical ways to motivate people?
Yeah. Good question. Well, one of the things your notes highlighted was the importance of feedback, both positive and negative. So like a well-timed word of praise can really boost someone's confidence and encourage them to keep going. But on the flip side, sometimes you got to give constructive criticism to help people course correct.
And how do you do that without like crushing their spirit?
Yeah, that's the art of it, right? You have to be direct, but also respectful.
Right.
Focus on the behavior, not the person, and frame it as an opportunity for growth.
So it's like a balancing act.
It is. It really is. And there was another interesting point in the notes about nonverbal communication.
Oh, yeah.
Like even small cues, like a nod or a frown, can have a big impact.
That's so true.
Yeah, think about it.
Yeah, you can tell when someone's really listening to you or when they're just like waiting for their turn to talk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as a leader, you're always sending signals, whether you realize it or not.
So being mindful of your body language is key.
Absolutely.
Now, switching gears a little bit. One thing that really surprised me in these notes was the emphasis on downtime.
Yeah, this one's important.
Like encouraging people to take breaks and actually rest.
Because you can't pour from an empty cup.
Right. So how does that tie into leadership?
Well, when people are overworked and stressed, they're not going to do their best work. They burn out, they get resentful, and ultimately it hurts the team.
So it's actually in the leader's best interest to encourage people to rest and recharge.
Exactly. And there was a study mentioned in your notes that found that regular breaks actually increase creativity and problem solving.
Wow.
So it's not just about preventing burnout, it's about boosting performance.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, so last but not least, we've talked about leading individuals and small teams. But what about leading large groups? Like a whole company or a classroom full of students?
Oh, yeah, that's a whole other ballgame.
So what changes when you're dealing with a much larger scale?
Well, for one thing, you can't micromanage.
Makes sense.
Right. You have to learn to delegate effectively, trust your team, give them clear goals and responsibilities. and create systems that allow for good communication and collaboration.
So it's less about being the one doing everything.
Right.
And more about empowering others to do what they do best.
Yeah, and setting them up for success.
Wow. This has been a whirlwind of insights.
I know.
We've covered so much ground, from intrinsic motivation to giving feedback to the importance of downtime.
And I think the key takeaway here is that leadership is not just for people with fancy titles. It's for anyone who wants to make a difference.
Whether it's at work or in your personal life.
Exactly. Everyone has the potential to be a leader.
And to leave you with one final thought to chew on, think about the areas in your life where you're already leading, even if you don't realize it. Maybe it's at home.
Yeah.
Maybe it's in your community. And think about how you can apply some of these principles we've discussed today to become even more effective.
It's all about making that impact.
That's it for this deep dive.
Until next time.
We'll see you soon.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.